Good morning to all. Obviously, I thank David and also the Learning Ideas Conference Committee for giving me the opportunity to participate as an author of the 17th the Learning Ideas Conference, and especially for doing it online. I'm Maria Rosaria. I'm a food researcher at the Department of History, Heritage and Humanities of Roma Tor Vergata University. During this talk, I will present some results of research experience carried out during the last years on the main field of training future museum professionals for digital heritage experiences. And I use these pictures, a door, an ancient door, because like a door, digital environments and tools can enhance educational experiences, especially the heritage one, and especially in inclusive terms, giving opportunities of involving communities and creating new meanings. And I think that it's so much important to underline this aspect. Firstly, the context define in a more deep way the context of research is important. I think just to give you an overview where the research experience was carried out. The bachelor's degree course in digital education is offered by the Faculty of Medicine of the University of Modena and Reggio Emilia, and it provides training for socio-pedagogical educators. The main goal of this 3-year degree course, which is designed as a distance learning program, is to develop theoretical and practical knowledge aimed at fostering professional and transversal skills within students in designing, creating, and assessing educational and training experience, with a particular focus on digital learning context. So please have in mind that in a national and international social framework in which the use, of course, of digital skills and tools is increasingly widespread, and in a context where digitalization process dominates every aspect of our everyday lives, training the educational staff, so teachers and educators in the digital field, is a pivotal need for our society. And this bachelor degree course aims exactly at meeting these educational needs. And in this educational framework, we provided a specific course that is digital learning environment for museum education. And it is a 9 ACTS course addressed to students enrolled at the 3rd year, and the course is an optional one and a non-compulsory one. It aims to provide students with the theoretical and also the methodological characteristics of empirical and experimental research in digital educational field, but in particular in the museum field, as well also with technical tools needed to design and to assess innovative and digital paths in cultural heritage education context. A particular attention is devoted to development of transversal skills at the museums, within the visitors, within the users, also to the study of the different category of users, and also an important aspect is the personalization and educational effectiveness of learning methodologies that are very widespread in formal learning contexts, but not so much in the informal one, like the museum context, such as digital object-based learning or digital storytelling or virtual reality or digital learning in general. So the course allows students to learn about the main research fields in digital and museum domain at international level, and this is also an important aspect, through active teaching methodologies and also by stimulating their critical thinking. Within this research framework, the educational experience of the course Digital Learning Environments for Museum Educations aims to verify the hypothesis that it is possible to stimulate both transversal skills, in particular critical thinking, creativity, and digital skills, and also the professional education related skills like instructional design, also in digital education context, through a rigorous and ad hoc pedagogical path and the use, of course, of innovative learning tools and methodologies. As I said before, the course provides a series of methodologies such as digital object-based learning, digital storytelling, virtual reality. It also involves using strategies aimed at analyzing and critically assessing context and digital equipment that are so much important in a general educational context, but particularly important in the informal one. And also it involves creating educational tools for digital, artistic, and cultural heritage education in order, obviously, to provide an extensive and also an in-depth knowledge of museum education in digital environments. So starting from this research hypothesis, the question you can see in these slides were conceived, and similarly, a specific methodology for the educational experience was developed. Can a distance learning program stimulate transversal skill, like digital skills, critical thinking, and creativity within a bachelor degree course? And which professional instructional design skills are mostly stimulated by the course? And which learning outcomes, I mean, in terms of knowledge acquired, do students achieve when they carry out all the synchronous and asynchronous learning activities designed within the course? The course design was carried out by starting from the main education studies in the field of professional training for educators, but also of transversal and professional skills development in digital learning context, and museum education in digital learning context. So these are the three main fields of the literature that we studied for the design of the course. First of all, it is fair to say that the world of museums and cultural institutions, in the world of museum and cultural institutions, the COVID-19 pandemic marked a very important watershed. Before COVID, many museums, for example, did not have their own website, especially the smaller ones, such as, I think, the municipal museums in the small Italian village. During COVID, all cultural institutions had to face and to interface also with communication and enhancement via digital tools, even just via social media, to continue their activity, to continue their communication, even during shutdowns periods. Moreover, before the diffusion of COVID-19 pandemic, the training path designed for museum professionals, such as museum educators, of course, gave little importance to the use of new digital technologies and also to other kinds of skills such as entrepreneurship, promotion, and obviously digital skills. Indeed, both recent graduates and workers, especially adult professionals in the cultural field, lack significant skills for their future careers. So they have fewer opportunities to improve their professional development and also to add new form of expression like the digital one. However, as I said before, the impact that the COVID-19 pandemic has had in accelerating the digital shift in the museum environment has been really massive, and at the same time, it has brought about a growth in professional training experience for museum professional or cultural professionals, and virtual environments in general are now seen as tools of communication that have proved to be fundamental for cultural institutions in general and for museums in particular. First of all, it is important to remember that museums and cultural heritage sites in general are powerful assets for local development. They can inspire creativity. They can boost cultural diversity. They can help regenerate local economies, and they can attract visitors and bring revenues. So while museums had previously been viewed as places that hold cultural, educational, and symbolic values, now they were increasingly acknowledged and seen as source of revenue and source for new jobs. Obviously, beyond the economic impact, at the end of the 20th century, the role of museum is also supporting well-being, supporting health, lifelong learning, and the creation of social capital. And all these characteristics became prominent in the most recent interpretation of museum. So museums also play a role that is crucial in addressing contemporary societal issues. And they tackle different and challenging areas such as sustainability, such as globalization, such as inequality, popularism, and gender equality, decolonization, climate change also. So as museums position themselves as active agents in today's society and today learning societies, we can say, museum educators, the professionals who design and facilitate interaction with the users, with the public, are situated to lead efforts to engage new and more diverse audiences. Meeting, but also overcoming these challenges mean not only affirming, but also renewing their continued relevance of the museum in this changing world. And obviously, the different theory of knowledge that's now defined, that knowledge is constructed individually and socially, is completely inserted in this new idea of museums as service of society and also learning. But continuing the description of our research experience and taking into consideration all these reflection about the literature in the field and the effectiveness of museums as social impact, the course Digital Learning Environments for Museum Education was designed in a very specific way. Firstly, it was offered through a Moodle platform that is the only one from the University of Modena and Reggio Emilia. Moreover, the digital educational experience was designed and created based on the ANVO invocation. ANVO is the Italian National Agency for the Evaluation of the University and Research Institutes, and also following the university guidelines about distance learning bachelor's degree. The course consisted of 18 hours of synchronous online lessons, so 9 meetings of 2 hours each, and 18 hours of video lessons, and 36 hours of online activities. That was divided into two sections. Section 1 that was more dedicated to the theme educational research in digital museum context, and Section 2 dedicated to the soft skills and museum education in digital environments. In addition to the 18 hours of synchronous online lectures and 18 hours of recorded video lectures, the course involved students in a series of different interacting teaching activities that were organized like virtual classrooms, 7 weekly meetings lasting 1 hour each, and also 7 e-activities on a weekly basis, such as thematic forums, quizzes, and case studies analysis. So all these activities were designed taking into account the outcomes of the research in the field, particularly in the field of the promotion of soft skills in digital learning context. And this is innovative in the international university educational landscape, because usually only 1 or 2 of the online activities are used in digital learning context. But in this research experience, we decided to use several activities linked to different educational methodologies. And these activities were used also to test their effectiveness in the promotion of the soft skills, such as, first of all, critical thinking, then creativity, collaboration, communication, and digital skills. We had, for example, a thematic forum on a definition of museum, a guided online bibliography, a research and analysis of assessment tools, an analysis of a study assessment model of competencies, and so on and so forth. So 7 different activities. In terms of assessment, the course included 2 formative assessment activities, assessment tests at the end of section 1 and a peer feedback at the end of section 2. And the final summative assessment was designed into separate stages or activities in order to collect also the different kind of data regarding the learning objectives, we talk a lot about transverse skills. So not only contents were evaluated, but also skills, attitudes, and other indicators. So test one was an educational course design document in a museum contest, and it was evaluating using a specific assessment grid realized for this particular research experience, and a test two that it was a very simple and common close-ended question test with 30 questions. Just a brief overview on the analysis. A total of 25 students completed the educational path in the last academic year, undergoing the final summative assessment and passing it with a higher grade than the pass mark. The group of students who finished the training path of the course consists of 8 males and 17 females, all of Italian nationality and with an average of 26. Most of them are also workers, students, workers. The total of papers for test one obtained a very good mark, so an average scores of 9.57 points, with a frequency of all scores between 9 and 10. At the same time, the relevance indicator received the highest score, with an average of 1.85 on 2 points as maximum, and the content indicator received the lowest scores, but in percentage, because as you can see, the rate is obviously very high, very good. Complexively, I can say good, because the average is 2.80 points on 3. In terms of transversal skills, soft skills, originality, creativity, and critical thinking, all the tests proved to be very good, with peaks of excellence, because 16 of 25 papers obtained the highest scores on these indicators, and this is particular data that we want to underline. Also because this indicator is particularly predictive of the final assessment scores assigned to the test, because the higher the score on originality, creativity, and critical thinking is, the more are the change of receiving a high final total score, even if this indicator have not so much points on a 10 scale. The Pearson correlation, in fact, is very good. The average of the scores assigned on the second test, so the closed test, the test with the close-ended answer, is always is good. The minimum score is 13 and the maximum score is 24. I want to underline this, that this test was completely devoted to knowledge, so the content of the course, and the frequency distribution curve of the scores is Gaussian, with a tendency of 19 points and median of 18. So a common distribution of the scores. Please have in mind that the final assessment of the course was assigned from the average of the scores obtained in test 1 and test 2. So in general, the minimum score assigned was 20, while the maximum is 30. For this very general overview of the data and of the outcomes of the summative assessment test, we can deduce that the content covered by the course was sufficiently achieved by the students. In particularly comparing the evidence, it is relevant the excellent, we can say, ability to use the acquired knowledge for educational design activity in museum context is very good. And this is a fundamental, pivotal professional skills within the course. Consequently, the levels of professional skills achieved by students in terms of designing educational museum experiences, selecting also evaluation criteria, and identifying the most suitable digital tools and solutions for the pedagogical experience can obviously be considered appreciable. And the very good outcomes in the area of soft skills, solicitation, creativity, and critical thinking are important. These can be all this, the research experience, I think, can be used by practitioners and educators in the field to define pedagogical rigorous path for future educators, also including museum education as a knowledge content of the course, or taking in a more general view, informal context in a educational instructional design course, and also to include completely digitally learning experience that can promote soft skills such as critical thinking, creativity, and digital skills. These results can also be used to define digital learning path in both university and adult educational context. Let's think about training experience, non-professional experience, that want to focus on transverse skills. So obvious there are a way to improve the learning experience and the education and the research experience at the same time. The outcomes obviously cannot be generalized for methodological reasons, but maybe useful, could be useful for future implementations, such as providing additional formative tests, or, for example, collect more detailed information about the subject that can support our hypothesis. So thank you so much for the opportunity to present the experience, and I'm at your disposal for any questions or information you ask.
Thank you very much, Maria Rosaria, for that really interesting case study. So we have left 2 minutes for questions. Are there questions in the audience, in the chat? Please come ahead.
Just in time.
Thank you. Yeah, I asked for our in-person, and thanks for very much for all the information focused on today. And until now, we have no more questions in person, but we can waiting for in chat if they have any questions, and people can join in the chat and ask all the questions in event.
Okay, good. If we have no questions, I'd say we should have a closer look at the paper. We should have a closer look at that work. That is stimulating and interesting. So take a break,